Hey, welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about healing and how to know when you're actually healing. I feel like when you have built up this momentum and you've been working at healing and recovering for a really long time, it can be hard to gauge your growth and your progress. It can be hard to see that and recognize that. I know this is something that I struggle with. And so I think, I don't know, maybe hearing this from someone else could help you or maybe could help me identify how far we've come, how much we've healed, how much we've overcame, and give ourselves that recognition and credit that we deserve and feel that gratification that will then make it easier to continue on and further yours, mine, ours healing journey. So without further ado, let's get into it. I have a really big, long list here. So yeah, some signs that you're healing. One, the same things don't trigger you. I think this is a really big one. This can be something as simple as like conversation topics, people, points of view, opinions, settings, foods, so many different things that don't trigger you anymore. That is a sign that you are healing, you're doing your shadow work, you're moving past the things that used to hold you back and used to get you so dysregulated and upset. Another one, you laugh and you smile more. You laugh and you smile more than you ever have. I think that's a big indicator that you're healing. You're moving past your traumas, and this is something that will creep up on you, I think. You know, you won't see how far you've made it in your healing journey until you have a moment with friends where you just can't stop laughing. Something that would have set you off months or years ago happens and you laugh about it, you know, like breaking a plate or having a huge spill or making a big mistake in life in general. If you're able to laugh and smile about those things that you maybe wouldn't have been able to laugh and smile about living as a past version of yourself, I think that's really a good sign, and that's very commendable and very exciting. Another one, you sleep better. If you're sleeping better, and if you're having less nightmares, like that is such an indicator that you're healing your root chakra. You are feeling like you have a right to be here. You have a right to sleep. You're not scared. You're not anxious. You're not ruminating. You're not tossing and turning. Like you feel comfortable and at ease in your body, in your home, in your bed. Sleeping better is such a key piece to healing because, I don't know, I think a lot of people don't think they have trauma, but then they also have insomnia. And it's like, I don't think you can have insomnia and that not be linked to like some underlying trauma or issue or problem. Like I think everything stems from something within us. And so if you're able to get to the root of the cause, and you're sleeping better, I think that's an indicator of the fact that you are just on the right path. There's no need to look back if you're sleeping better. If you're less inflamed, if you look back on old photos of yourself and you look less puffy now than you once did, you're healing. You are not putting your body under the same stress that you used to. You're not overthinking, ruminating, stressing, worrying about the same stuff that you used to, because when you are, that stress kind of shows from the inside out. Your face will be puffy, your jawline will be puffy, your neck, your whole body, you'll be bloated. And I don't know, if you're feeling and looking less inflamed, I think you're probably most likely healing. If you dance more when you're just out listening to music, on a bike ride, you catch yourself lip syncing to that song and dancing and getting in your own groove, or like just playing music while you're getting ready for the day, playing music while you're cooking and you're dancing around your apartment, your kitchen, that's a sign that you are loving life again. And that's exactly what we love to see. If you're present more often than you were and you're engaged in your vices less often than you were, I think that's a big indicator of the fact that you're healing, you're getting stronger, and you're outgrowing the past versions of yourself that needed to engage in your vices, needed to numb your internal world to just exist and cope with your external reality. If you're able to show up and face your reality day to day, be present with it, sit with it, and not engage in those vices to numb or run away from it, that is a sign that you're healing. You are courageous. You have so much strength. You are taking on your reality face value head on, and you're not wussing out anymore. Another one, you're not afraid to take up space physically and emotionally. You're not afraid to get in someone's way, to take a big spot on the couch, to, I don't know, have an emotional breakdown around a friend and take up that emotional space. You're not afraid to vent. You're not afraid to show your ugly sides to friends and family. You're opening up and being more vulnerable physically and emotionally, and that is huge. That is a huge step in your healing journey. If you're not afraid to admit that you weren't entirely truthful or you made a mistake, if you aren't afraid to do that, I would say that you are well on your healing journey. You are getting more comfortable with being honest, being truthful, and accepting the fact that you're not perfect and you're not hiding from that, running away from it, shielding yourself from the effects and the impacts of being an imperfect human being. You're just, again, facing it head on, face value, taking it for what it is, and owning up to the fact that, like, hey, I wasn't entirely honest about this. Hey, I wasn't entirely truthful. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. And that's chill. And that's character development. And we love that. Oh my God, this is a big one. When you only apologize when you mean it. If you're only apologizing when you truly mean it, I think you are dealing with your people-pleasing side. You are addressing and healing your people-pleasing side. If you are not apologizing just because it's the Canadian thing to do, it's the polite thing to do, if you're only apologizing when you mean it, I think that's a big indicator of growth. You're not saying sorry just to say it. You're saying it because you actually mean it and you actually feel it, and that carries so much more weight and depth than just saying, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Sorry, I didn't, mean it to come off that way. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry, this or that. If you're choosing to thank people for being patient instead of saying, sorry, I'm late, or, thank you for understanding instead of saying, sorry for laying this all on you. Sorry for being, XYZ. I think that really shows that you're being mindful and cognizant of what you're saying and why you're saying it, which is huge. Because I think getting in the habit of apologizing when you don't truly mean it or you don't really need to be apologizing is not a good habit to be in. And I think it has a subconscious effect on your brain, your mind, your body, that you're in the wrong and you made a mistake when sometimes you're just late. Sometimes that's just life and you don't need to apologize for it, Ooh, when you're stricter with your bedtime and how many hours of sleep you get, that's a huge sign that you are maturing, you're growing, you're healing, you're caring about your health and your wellness on a deeper, stricter level. You're not just eating healthy, you're not just working out, you are doing everything. It is a very holistic approach to healing and recovering. You're letting yourself rest and you're not feeling guilty or shameful about it. Another one, when your self-care routine is getting longer and more tedious, I think that's a good sign that you are healing. You're prioritizing yourself. You're putting yourself first. You're pouring into yourself, filling your cup, investing into how you care for yourself and love yourself. It can be like a hair routine getting longer. It can be something as little as starting to do makeup again after taking a break from doing makeup. Getting really into serums and knowing what order to put them in, and returning to dry brushing. That's something that I used to love as part of my self-care routine. And then I fell out of it because I was like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. But now I'm in this space where I am like, I don't know, I finally am getting more comfortable with like taking my time when I have a shower, and I do any shower really. It doesn't even have to be full body, but just like taking my time to enjoy it and make that time for me. I think when you can enjoy grooming yourself, like you're investing into a lifelong system and habit routine of how you love yourself that I think just pervades into every other aspect of your being. Another one, being comfortable spending money on yourself, I think is a big one. Especially if you have wounds and traumas having to do with financial insecurity, like I do. I grew up with my mom, like, refusing to buy new underwear for herself. Like, it would be years, like 3 years, 5 years. And she'd be like, oh my God, I haven't gotten myself new underwear. I just have to spend so much money on you kids and this and that. And I think that it's just never healthy. And I think you need to be comfortable to love yourself and to heal and to give yourself the care that you deserve and you require. You have to be okay spending money on yourself. You have to be okay pouring into your cup. You have to be okay spending $60 on a haircut if you're a woman and that's what a haircut costs. You have to be okay getting yourself new underwear every 6 months, year, however often you need new necessities. Ooh, and also on the topic of money, if you are becoming more hesitant with spending money on others, I think that is a key sign that you're healing. Particularly for the generous people pleasers out there, like myself. I am so quick to be like, oh my God, yes, this coworker, this person that I've been friends with for 3 weeks, it's their birthday. Oh my God, I have to get them a card. I have to make them a cake. I have to do this and that, because birthdays are really a big thing for me. And I love spoiling people and I love celebrating other people. But sometimes I need to have stricter boundaries with that, because it's like, sometimes I'll go out of my way to spoil this person that I barely even know. And then it's like, I don't know, turns out a couple weeks after their birthday passes that we're not even really like, we don't click, we don't mesh, we don't end up being friends, long term on like a deep level, and I never see this person again. And it's like you went way out of your way and you stressed yourself out and you did all this stuff to celebrate them and their birthday, and you didn't even know them at the time. You didn't even end up being long-term friends with them. Like, I don't know. I personally have struggles with being more hesitant to spend money on myself than I am to spend money on others. And so I think it's a big indicator for me that I'm healing these wounds when I see that I am more hesitant to spend money on other people than I maybe once was. If you don't ruminate as much, if you don't entertain worries and thoughts and fears and anxieties as much as you once did, that's a big indicator that you're healing. Yeah, you're working on your anxious part and you're not letting your anxious part run the show and keep you up at night and worry you and stress you out and inflame your whole body. You're getting comfortable with the fact that you are a work in progress and you're not ever going to be perfect, and maybe you're a little too hard on yourself than you need to be. You're realizing that, and because of that realization, you're not ruminating. You're not sitting in these bad vibes, this low vibrational energy for a very long time. You recognize you made a mistake, or, you could have addressed something differently, and you clock it and you move on. You don't stress about it for longer than that. Another great one, you don't worry or stress about setting boundaries with other people. You're just like, hey, this is my bedtime. Hey, I don't want to do this. that's not okay. You can't talk to me like that. You can't treat me like that. If this is how you want this friendship to operate, I don't want to be a part of this friendship anymore. When you are more comfortable with vocalizing your needs, your wants, your desires, your requirements for relationships and for respect, when you are more comfortable having those uncomfortable conversations, that is a big sign that you are healing and you are building confidence and self-esteem and you're putting yourself first. If you don't get as scared about facing your triggers than you used to, that's another sign that you are healing. And this is kind of similar to one that I mentioned at the very beginning, but I think it's different in the sense that you don't ruminate worrying about, oh my God, if this thing happens, if I face this person, if I face this situation, what am I going to do? You don't spend as much time before something happens worrying about worst case scenario and how you're going to respond to that. You're more optimistic, you have more faith in the fact that it's going to work out, and even if it doesn't work out, you have the tools in your tool belt to deal with it and address it in the best way possible if that situation, that worst case scenario arises. Another sign that you're healing is resting more. And this kind of ties back into the sleep point. If you're sleeping more, and I guess in the different sense, if you're resting more, not in the sense of sleeping, like reading more, watching more movies, taking more downtime, meditating more, just existing, just chilling, just going for a walk, not always like doing something quote unquote productive. I think that's a big sign that you are healing. Again, I think ties back into your root chakra. You're allowing yourself to just be here and exist and be okay with that. And like, it's not like it's a currency exchange type thing of, oh, I have to earn my right to exist and live a beautiful life. I have to work really hard. I have to hustle. I have to be, ripping my hair out and sweating and working till my knuckles are white to earn the time and the place and the deservingness to just sit and rest and exist and read a book and do leisure activities. It's not that toxic currency exchange with work and rest. You're starting to realize that you're allowed to rest inherently just by way of existing. Just it's your birthright by way of being on this earth. Rest is part of life. Rest is part of a productive, healthy, happy lifestyle, and you're getting more comfortable with that, and that is huge. If you don't feel guilt or shame for existing and being yourself, that is a huge sign that you are healing. If, I don't know, you make a bad joke and you don't like harp on yourself or like, stupid, 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 why did I say that? I think that's a big sign that you're healing and you're okay being your awkward self and not making coherent jokes all the time, sometimes not knowing how to conversate with people. You're okay existing in a room of a bunch of people that you don't really know, existing in a room filled with strangers, going to a coworker's dinner or going to a friend's family's dinner and not knowing anyone there, and you're not, I don't know, hyperfixating or worrying or wondering about like how people are perceiving you. You're not shaming yourself for like not helping with certain things, not talking to everyone. Like you feel so much more at peace and at ease just existing and being in your own body and taking up space, and you don't stress about those little human interactions as much as you used to. If you're beginning to enjoy old hobbies or habits that you used to love, I think that is a huge sign that you are healing and you're returning to your inner child. You're healing whatever traumas it was that brought you away from those habits and hobbies. And because of that, now you're being brought back to them. If you're talking to yourself kinder and with more compassion, that is a big sign that you are healing. You are nurturing yourself. You're being kinder to yourself. You're reparenting yourself and nurturing that inner child within you. by way of kindness and compassion. If you make a mistake, if you break a plate, if you miss an appointment, if you're late for something, you're not like, oh, I should have done this better. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like ruminating and turning up the volume on that inner critic. You're not doing that. You are turning up the volume on your inner coach, and you're allowing this coach to be compassionate and to be kind and to say, it's okay. You don't have to be on time for everything. It's okay. You can let the plate break and it's not the end of the world. It's okay. You can have a late night movie night. You can indulge in this sweet treat and you don't have to feel shameful or guilty about it. You can exist and just be happy and enjoy life. If you're exercising more patience with yourself, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. If you're allowing yourself to make mistakes and take longer to do certain things, to get things checked off your to-do list, I think that is a huge sign that you are healing and you are respecting your inner child and the natural pace and flow of life. Not everything is always going to be really super uber productive. Not every day is going to have the same level of productivity as the next or the one before it. And I think it's a big sign that you're healing if you're getting comfortable with that. If people feel comfortable and at ease around you, I think that is another sign that you are healing. If you make people feel safe and you make people feel heard and accepted and understood, that is one big step in the right direction. And I think you can see this in how people talk to you and whether or not people confide in you, whether they find you trustworthy, whether or not they get vulnerable with you. And I think you can see this even more so with strangers, people that you barely know. It's like, why are you telling me your whole life story? Okay, clearly you feel like I'm a safe space. And that is huge if you didn't grow up in a safe space or you never really felt safe with yourself. When other people feel safe with you, I think that is a huge indicator of the fact that you are safe within yourself. So much so that you are a safe space for other people without ever having to say, I'm a safe space. It's just the energy, the vibe that you bring to the function, your aura, the way that you talk to people verbally, but also non-verbally, how you nod, how you show understanding in your facial expressions. That is huge, and people really pick up on that. And the further you get along in this healing journey, I think the more prominent this one becomes, because I'm at a point where I have had people tell me to my face, like, you are so chill. You're so understanding. You're so kind. Like, I feel like I can tell you anything. You're so mature. You have so much wisdom. Like, people will be honest with you and will not be afraid to confirm to your face how far you are along in your healing journey, because it'll start to show and people will ask you, like, do you have anxiety? Have you ever had anxiety? Like, how do you live a life like this when you've had all these traumas? How are you at such ease and such peace? Like, you're just the chillest, most peaceful person I've ever met. People will say those things the farther along you get in this journey. And I think when you encounter moments and conversations and comments like that, it becomes really hard to deny yourself the validation, the understanding, the gratification that you're healing. You did it. You're moving on. You're moving forward. You are growing up and overcoming the things that once held you back. When haters don't cause you as much stress, that is a big sign that you are healing. When you can let people just hate you and misunderstand you and misjudge you and dislike you and just be okay with it and be content and let people have their own opinions and not worry about why they don't like you or what you can do to make them like you. You're not hyper analyzing what's wrong with them to make them not like you. You can just be happy with the fact that not everyone has to like you. You don't need to be a people pleaser. You don't need to be the first pick on everyone's team. You're understanding that you have a few good people in your circle and that's all you need. And one random person out of the 7 billion people on this planet not liking you doesn't have anything to do with you. You don't have to take it to mean anything. If you think about hyperfixate less and process things faster than you used to, I think that is a big sign that you are healing. If you're thinking about and hyperfixating on the process less, I think that is a sign that you're being in the moment. You are letting things flow, you're letting things come, letting things go, and just allowing life to do its thing, and you're not trying to control and be in the power seat all the time. You're kind of being a passenger, you're letting life guide you, and you're doing less and enjoying more. And when you process things faster than you used to, I think it is a sign of emotional maturity and the fact that you just have like a better baseline understanding and foundation for like wisdom and life lessons that just allow you to understand and process and come to terms with things faster than you maybe once did. If you're not worrying about what's next as much as you used to, I think that's a big sign that you are healing and you're trusting yourself and you're having faith in the process and you're just, trusting yourself to fall, to try and to fall and fail and pick yourself back up and pick back up right where you left off. If you're experiencing a reduced presence of nervous tics or compulsions, I think that is a big sign that you are healing. You're not as anxious, you're not as ruled by subconscious nervous tendencies. For me, one of my nervous tics or compulsions would probably be cleaning. And I think bouncing my leg is another one that I've kind of grown out of. And cleaning is a big one, a hard one. It took a long time for me to grow out of it. And sometimes still, but I don't know. I've gotten into a good habit of being able to leave laundry. Like clean laundry, I won't put it away right away. Dishes, I'll be able to leave them out overnight. There's certain things that I am getting more comfortable not fixing or doing right away. I allow myself to brew in my own filth for a little bit longer than I may be used to, which for some people isn't a good thing, but for me, it's a good thing when you have OCD and everything has to be neat and clean and proper and tidy 24/7. That can get really exhausting and really unhealthy really fast. Ooh, another one. This one I like because this one I have recently experienced confirmation of and it was glorious. If you find it easier to not overshare, that is a big sign that you are healing. You are not looking for constant external validation from other people. You're not oversharing your traumas and your burdens and, I don't know, just dampening the mood all the time because you haven't processed these things. And so you need to keep talking about them and bringing them up and stirring up all these emotions to get confirmation and validation and pity and understanding from people around you. You have found acceptance within yourself. You have processed it on your own time that you don't need to bring it up. You don't need to overshare about your traumas. You don't need to talk about this and that and all these crazy things that happened in your life, all these pivotal canon moments that, took you months, years to process. You don't need to be sharing that the first time you're meeting someone. They don't need to know about all the traumas that it took you 2 years to open up about with your therapist. Now that you've processed them, they're yours to keep and to savor, and you're kind of more discerning in how you want to share these pieces that you maybe once overshared in your past. And then when you're more discerning with who and how and when you share these tidbits, these experiences, the moment becomes so much more special and so much more sacred because you're not sharing it out of a need for or desire for validation. You're sharing it out of a desire to be vulnerable and to connect and to bring understanding to a situation, maybe. Like when the intent shifts, the outcome also shifts. And so if your intent around oversharing and the outcome around it is changing and it's becoming more pleasant, I think that's a great sign that you're healing, and it's glorious. For me, recently, someone had asked me they were like, Jen, what? I want to know so much about you. Like, you're so mysterious. I feel like I don't know anything. And to me, in that moment, that was my confirmation of like, yes, I have healed my oversharing, compulsive oversharing part of myself, because for so many years I was the person that was like, yeah. I would just yap and like word vomit all of these life traumas onto people that I just met, and it was never a pleasant experience. But now when I get to be more discerning with how I share those experiences, it's so much better. And then the people that I don't want to know about these traumas don't know anything about them. And I have so much more control and freedom over the situation and the outcome and how it makes me feel and who knows what about my past and my life. It's great. If you take your time, and you take more time than maybe you once did, and getting to know people and letting them into your inner circle, and then, maybe confiding in them about these traumas and things that you maybe would have overshared in the past, I think that's a great sign that you're healing and you are setting healthy boundaries and you're respecting those boundaries and you're being selective with who you're letting into your life, which I think is just, it's great. You're not desperate for human connection. You're not desperate for friends. You're not desperate for understanding and empathy and validation. You are moving through life in a way that's oriented towards your values, towards satisfying your needs and your wants and your desires, and not anyone else's, not any insecurities. It's, I think, definitely a great sign that you are living a healthier life and you're creating healthier, more long-lasting relationships if you are taking more time with getting to know people and creating your inner circle. If you feel more comfortable and at ease being alone than you once did, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. I think that has something to do with your root chakra, your right to be here, your right to exist, and your ability to feel comfortable in your own body and moving about this world in your body and from your own point of view. You're not running from that reality or that fact. You are comfortable with it. You're at ease. You can sit alone. You can have a Friday night alone. You can enjoy your alone time and not be lonely or anxious or worrisome or craving some type of human connection. You can just be with yourself and enjoy that and love that. And that's something that I think not a lot of people can do. So big props if you can. If you're getting to be okay with rejection, if you aren't worried or fearful of what's going to happen if something doesn't work out, I think that's a big sign that you're healing, you're growing, you're changing, because rejection can be a hard one. And yeah, if you're getting to be okay with rejection, whether it's school, jobs, career path, friendships, relationships, that's a huge sign that you are getting to be more comfortable in your body, more confident, and more understanding of the fact that you don't have control over everything. And if something's not going to work out, it wasn't meant to be, and you know that, you're going to move on from it. If you can indulge and you can miss a workout and not be mad at yourself or upset with yourself, I think that is a big sign that you are healing. I know for me, I am very strict and diligent and, I don't know, military mindset with a lot of things in my life. And so when I don't live according to this strict plan that I have set out for myself, sometimes it can be really hard to show compassion for myself and understanding of the fact that like it just wasn't in the books for today. I just didn't have the time. It wasn't something I had the energy for, whatever the reasoning might be. Like, that's just life. And I think learning to be okay with the fact that not every day is going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to miss a workout. Sometimes you're not going to get to something that you wanted to get to. And that is okay. We try again. We do better tomorrow. And you understand that that's not your intention. And if it's not a like routine, if it's not a constant thing that you're battling with, you don't need to stress about it so hard. You don't need to worry about it so much. And so I think if you can allow yourself to ride out those ebbs and flows of life and understand that like, I got an extra rest day this week and that's okay. I needed an extra rest day. It's cool. I might make up for it next week by having an extra long workout or having one last rest day, doing an extra workout on another day. It's all good. It's fine. If your intention is there to live a healthy lifestyle, an active lifestyle, you'll meet that goal. And the impacts of not making your workout every single day the way that you hope or intend to, the impacts of that are marginal. If you can take your time and you don't rush yourself, whether this is like cooking, cleaning, chores, creative pursuits, just feeling ready to do something, relationships, making friends, letting people into your inner circle. When you can be patient, you don't rush yourself, you take your time, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. You are enjoying life. You're just like pondering, lollygagging, twiddling your thumbs. You're chilling. You're enjoying. You're not in the rat race, worried about productivity and things being done on time and things being done in like the most efficient way possible. You're enjoying the ride. You're taking it easy. That's great. That's good. We love that. If you're staying committed to your goals, even on days that you may not want to, or in moments you may not want to, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. And, I think this kind of ties into your ability to take rest days and allow yourself to miss workouts and not be mad at yourself. I think these are both great examples of what it looks like when you have compassion with yourself and you have patience and you have understanding and you're reparenting yourself in a kinder way. Because when you stay committed to your goals, even when you don't want to, that's a sign of self-love and self-respect. And so is allowing yourself to take an extra rest day and being okay with that and having compassion and having understanding for yourself that, like, again, every day is not going to be perfect. Things aren't always going to shape out to be what you plan for them to be at the beginning of the week or the beginning of the day. And that's cool. That's fine, because you're committed to your goals. You trust yourself to follow through on the things that you want to do. And you love yourself enough to have the discipline and the diligence to do it more times than not. And you also have enough love and care and compassion to allow yourself to take breaks and take rest days and take a little hiatus when you need. It's all figuring out the balance between those two things, which can be really hard, but I think is really beautiful once you start to figure out how to do that dance eloquently. When you notice that you are doing more of what you want and less of what other people want, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. You're healing that people-pleasing side of you, and you're living life for yourself and nobody else. If you don't feel bad for making other people uncomfortable, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. You don't worry about triggering people. You're not kind of like hyper vigilant with your own emotions and your own body language and the things that you're saying to kind of ensure that everyone else in the room is okay. You're not worried about that. You're not worried about other people. You're worried about yourself, and that's really all you should be worried about. All you can be worried about. It's the only thing you can control, right? And so if other people are uncomfortable, that's a them problem, not a you problem. And knowing that and living in alignment with that is huge. And similar to this last one, if you are okay to tell the truth and hurt someone's feelings, if you're okay with that, if you're comfortable with that, that's a huge sign that you're healing. You're not worried about someone not choosing you because of you being real and honest with them. And that is just huge. Like, people pleasing, we don't need it. Get it out of here. We love all the indicators of healing from people pleasing. If you cut off relationships, people, and connections that don't support you or fuel you, and you don't think twice about it, you don't stress about it, like, sure, maybe you mourn, sure, maybe there's some grieving, you miss them, you long for those moments, you reminisce on them, but you don't doubt your decision-making process. You don't think back and be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, maybe I should let him back into my circle. Not stressing about that stuff and trusting your own line of judgment is a huge indicator that you're healing, you're loving yourself, you're setting yourself up for success, and you are being very particular with how you are structuring your inner circle, and you have no remorse for people that don't make the cut. If you don't make the cut, you don't make the cut. You're cut. Get over it. If you're decluttering and letting go of material things that you used to have an attachment to, I think that's a huge sign that you're healing. You're leveling up. You are just like clearing waste out of your life, whether it's emotional, psychological, or like actually physical. I think those are all great signs that you're healing, because I don't know, they say like with hair holds memories. I think so do material items. So do pieces of clothing, pairs of shoes, just like clutter, things that you don't use, things that just like clutter your life, clutter your space, clutter your aura. If you are finding that it's easier to cut those things out of your life, donate those things, declutter your space, that's a big sign that you're healing. You're letting go of things that no longer serve you, and you're not feeling remorseful about it. If you're craving healthier whole foods more often than processed foods, sweet treats, I think that's a big sign that you're healing. I know your microbiome has a lot to do with the foods that you crave, and I think if you're craving more whole foods, healthy foods, that is a big sign that you are healing your gut, you're healing your microbiome, you're healing your eating habits, and it's just reflective in the types of foods that you want to be eating. And the last one on the list, if you are finding that you are able to be happy for people, achieving things, greater than you. This can be people that you do know or don't know, people just on your social media feed. That is a big sign that you are healing. If you can easily be happy for other people doing better than you, instead of like comparing yourself to them and feeling jealous or inadequate or behind in life, that is a big sign that you are healing. You're recognizing that you're in your own lane. Everyone is on their own life journey, on their own life process, and everyone's an individual, and you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. And anyone else's success doesn't take away from your own success and your own timeline and all the great, wonderful things that you are doing and things that you are going to continue to do, things that you're going to do in the future, things that you already have done. Like, when you can see that you are your own person, distinct from other people, and there's enough room and space in this life for everyone to be insanely successful, that is a huge sign that you are healing, you are transcending, you are moving past a lot of barriers that most people don't move past in this life. So yeah, I don't know how many that was. Probably it looks like 30 on my list. I have so many here. I don't even know if you can see, probably not. But yeah, that was everything. I hope you liked. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's any that I missed that you thought of. Please feel free to list them off down below in the comments, because yeah, the more insight, the merrier. Thanks so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe for more, and I hope I'll see you again next video. Bye!